We're looking at the Samsung Galaxy S22 in this video. Good day, you beautiful people. Welcome to LAZADA's Tech, where we do tech in your life, in style, in pink. I know you guys have been waiting on this video, so this is our first look at the S22. Now, I did do a quick hands-on of this phone before launch, and it was against the backdrop of like all the stuff that Samsung announced. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it up here and down below. And yes, I heard you guys, I will be doing a social media test with this phone, so comment down below what specific social media feature you'd want me to test out in that upcoming video. In the meantime, this video is basically our official unboxing hands-on camera tour video, except I didn't unbox this phone because you guys already know what's gonna be in it. Almost nothing. I'm kidding. We have, of course, paperwork, that charging cord, SIM tool, and that's about it. I ordered my unit on the Samsung website. I did pre-order it. This is the base pink gold S22. And basically, I wanted to test out this phone because 1, it's smaller, 2, it comes in pink, and 3, this has the same cameras and processors as the S22 Plus. So at least on the S22, not Ultra phones, it didn't seem like you were sacrificing a lot for the smaller form factor. Alright, before we move on, a quick montage. The S22 is the smallest phone from the S22 line. Here it is side by side with the S22 Plus, and here it is side by side with the S22 Ultra. Despite it being the smallest phone in this line, it's still almost just the same size as the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 13 Pro. Last year's base S21 is almost the same size, just a little bigger than this year's S22. And though these two phones look pretty similar, these two have very different feels. I feel like the S22 feels a little bit more flat than the S21, despite both having flat screens. I think this has to do with how the backs of the phones are, with the S21 tapering off to the sides, which the S22 does not do. And while I admit that I'd still prefer a smaller phone and the iPhone mini is still unrivaled in terms of size for me, the S22 is the most comfy to hold from the S22 series for me, definitely way more comfy than the S22 Ultra. This phone features a 50-megapixel main shooter, a 12-megapixel wide, and a 10-megapixel telephoto shooter, which can do 3 times optical zoom and 30 times space zoom. This phone can also record in 8K using the rear cameras, and you're looking at footage shot on 8K right now. 8K footage right now. This is 1x, and it can zoom up until 6x. Let's go back to 1x. This is 4K, 60 FPS, 1x. Can zoom up until 10x. Back to 1x. To stop recording to do wide on 4K Ultra HD, but it can do it. 4K 30 this time. This is 1x, wide, 1x, 3x, and it can zoom up until 12x, and this is what we've been shooting on. Back to 1x. For context, full HD, 60 FPS, 6x, 1x, 3x, up until 12x, and then walk to 1x. Full HD 30, 1x, 6x, 1x, 3x, and then 12x. Back to 1x. There are only 3 cameras on the back of this phone, and unlike the Ultra, there's no secondary telephoto camera. portrait on 3x zoom is still looking fire, and yes, AI stereo depth map is also on this phone. Basically, they said expect better portrait cutouts on the S22 devices, and that includes this base S22. There's a 10 megapixel selfie camera up front in that punch hole, and yes, auto framing mode on video is also available on this cam. Great news for all the vloggers. Up front, you can shoot in 4K, and that's footage you're seeing right now. The S22 features 3,700 mAh battery and 25-watt wired charging, different from what we find on the S22 Plus, though if you want a full comparison between the two phones, you can check out my previous vid. Like I said, I did pre-order this phone, which means I got a $150 credit, which also means I put it all on Samsung cases. I got the butter silicone case, really great looking simple one. I also got the white and green strap case, which we initially saw on the flip phones. And finally, I got the LED view cover, the most expensive case in the bunch, but I'm all for folio cases, and this is pretty cool. You can also customize the LED light alerts on this. And because I pre-ordered, I got upgraded to the 256 gig version for free. And that also came with YouTube Premium and Spotify Premium. Total for that came out to $882. Let's go, friends. Camera tour time. We go to the camera and I am on portrait. That's automatically 3x. You can see everything behind me is blurred. You can switch the effect strength here, and there are different types of blur here. On portrait, we can do 1x, no wide, 3x up until 3x. Up here you have settings, flash settings, you have timer, and then you have skin smoothness. So that is turned off right now. On the right, we have photo, so you can do wide, 1x, 3x up until 30x, back to 1x. Up here, you have different settings. You have flash settings, timer settings, size settings, and this is motion photo. If I'm not mistaken, someone asked me about this in the comments of my S22 Ultra video, so this is your answer. There is different filters up here. You also have the My Filters option. Basically, take like sort of the filter or look in an existing photo and apply it to whatever photos you're taking. You have face, which gives you smoothness, and then tone, jawline, eyes, and then on the right you have video, and then you have settings, flash settings. You have a super steady mode. You can do wide, 1x, wide and 1x in super steady mode. You can do wide, 1x, 3x up until 12x on video, and this is Ultra HD 30. You can do 4K 60. You can do 8K with the rear cameras. Let's go back to 4K because I've been trying to shoot everything in 4K. Down here you have auto framing. So basically, did you see that? So you can tap someone to have the camera track them automatically. If I turn it off, we're back to like 1x. Let me show you that again. So we are on wide, but if I turn on auto framing, it zooms in. We have one person in frame. It did zoom in, and then oh, that's cool. Let's turn this off and it goes back to 1x. And under more, we have pro mode. And of course, this allows you to use all your different cameras for pro photos and videos up until 12x. You have a pro video mode as well. You also have single take mode, something we've always liked with Samsung phones. Basically, it takes a whole video clip, and then after doing that, AI will pick out your best shots and even edit it for you. So for example, that quick clip, it's processing right now. And then it'll show you the best takes from that clip, and it will even edit it for you, like add filters, make collages. You get the idea. Now, the single take mode isn't new on Samsung phones. We've seen this before in previous phones, but always fun for social media. You have a night mode. You can do wide, 1x, 3x, up until 10x, back to 1x. timer, size. You have a food mode just like in the S22 Ultra, and I have a camera tour of that. Check it out up here and down below. You have a panorama mode, a super slow-mo mode, there's a slow-mo mode, and then you have the hyperlapse portrait video, which basically blurs out your background in video. And you have, of course, different portrait filters. You also have 3x. Ooh, that looks good. Up until, well, 3x and 1x basically. Up here, you also have skin smoothness. And then you have director's view, and that allows for you to see all the different lenses. You have different ways to view it, and you can also move this around in picture-in-picture mode. Right, so we started with portrait, so that was at the very end. Let's go to selfies now, and this can do 4K 60 on selfie mode. You have auto framing up front like you saw earlier, and you also have your different size settings and different filters. So my filters, you have face filters, but that's only available in 1080p. Switch to 1080p 30, and it does say that that's the default recording resolution. On photos, you have 1x wide, 1x wide, no more zooming in and out. You have settings, flash settings, timer settings. You also have motion photo, and then you have your different filters and face filters. And then we're back to portrait mode. You also have wide, 1x, different blur portrait filters. You can do your skin smoothness here, size, timer, and then you have your flash settings. Now, that's it for our camera tour. Some sample shots. For today, that was our first look, well, technically second look at the S22. Like I said, I will be doing a social media test on this phone. That's coming soon. Let me know if a camera vlog test is also something you'd like to see. If you want to see how I use my tech on a daily basis, find me online. That's isadoes_ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Until next time.